All right, I want to get into this because we haven't really talked about it yet, and it's probably the biggest moment on Monday Night Raw from last night in Phoenix, Arizona. And no, it was not John Cena and CM Punk being in a WWE ring at the same time for the first time in 12 years. It was Ron Killings, R-Truth. R-Truth, who was released by the WWE, was told for 6 days that he wasn't relevant enough to be there. They weren't going to pay him the money that he wanted. He didn't agree to work for far less than what the WWE were hoping that he was going to work for. So he left. They parted ways. They said he was released. Ron Killings, I would say, walked away from less money, which he should have because he deserved what he probably ended up getting. But for 6 days, the WWE Universe chanted, "We want truth. We want truth. We want truth." Well, you got truth, and you got the realest version of Ron Killings because Ron Killings is back in WWE, not necessarily R-Truth. That promo on Raw last night was the greatest in-ring promo that Ron Killings has recorded in his WWE career, probably in his entire career. He probably had better promos in TNA as Ron the Truth Killings back in his run in TNA. He was the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion at one point. That's the Ron Killings I think we're going to see moving forward in a WWE ring because R-Truth and that goofy gimmick that he's had for the last 10 years that made fans fall in love with him, I think he's gone, ladies and gentlemen. I think the guy that we wanted back over the last 6 days when he was theoretically gone from the WWE and released, we're not going to be getting that guy moving forward, which is very ironic considering that's the guy that the WWE Universe screamed their asses for the past week. So Triple H brings R-Truth back. He attacks John Cena, hits him over the head with the WWE Championship, and then he has the promo of a lifetime on Monday Night Raw. It pumps me up. It gave me goosebumps. R-Truth comes back on Monday Night Raw in a black hoodie, in a black mask, reveals himself once again as R-Truth, the guy that the WWE just re-signed. He says R-Truth is back because of each and every one of you. He loves the fans love him. He is back because of the fans, but he's also back because he wants more for himself. And again, being R-Truth and playing the gimmick that he played over the last 10 years of just being the class clown and the goofball that he was, which made all of us adore him. It was great entertainment, World Wrestling entertainment. Ron Killings was the entertainment in World Wrestling Entertainment. He gave us the performance of a lifetime over the last 10 to 15 years, whether it was thinking that he was in the Money in the Bank ladder match at the Royal Rumble, whether he thought he was in the men's Royal Rumble when it was really the women's Royal Rumble, saying, "Where are all the guys at?" Whether it was him thinking he was in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but Kane had to tell him, "You're not even in the match. Like, what are you doing out here?" Like, R-Truth, I mean, not to mention the t-shirts that he sold from for the Judgment Day when he wasn't even in the group, calling Dominic Mysterio Dom and Nick Mysterio. I mean, the guy was comedic gold for the WWE, and he didn't even have to perform in a match. All he had to do was have backstage segments with everybody. R-Truth, Ron Killings was gold in WWE, and for whoever thought that he didn't have a place here moving forward in TKO, I mean, I don't know who you are, and I don't understand what you were thinking when you wanted to cut his contract and even let him go. And the WWE Universe obviously spoke their minds, and you knew that you made a fatal mistake. And if there's any truth to the rumors that WWE and TKO wants to renegotiate Roman Reigns' $15 million contract, once again, I hope that's just a rumor, because I don't think that's going to go over too well with the tribal chief and the guy that transcended the WWE into this next catapult of success. There is no WWE and 2K and TKO partnership and endeavor without Roman Reigns and what he was able to do since 2020 all the way up to now in 2025 with the whole Bloodline story. That elevated the business. And I don't know if Roman Reigns and WWE are going to have too keen of a conversation discussing his contract and making him work for less. So I know he's working less, but I think he deserves more for everything that he's done. Needless to say, R-Truth is back in WWE, cuts the promo last night of not only is he back for the fans, but he's back for himself. He's back for Ron Killings, and he asked people, if you think I'm a lie, if you think I'm a class clown, if you think I'm a sideshow, if you think I'm a gimmick, watch this. And R-Truth had one of the more jaw-dropping moments that we've seen from a superstar, a beloved superstar that we've seen in a long time. I guess John Cena was a beloved superstar back at Elimination Chamber, and that was a jaw-dropping moment, but this was a jaw-dropping moment in the sense that we thought R-Truth would never have another gimmick again after what we saw over the last 10 to 15 years. I mean, he was, if you want to go all the way back in the way back machine, R-Truth was K-Quick. K-Quick in the early 2000s with Road Dogg Jesse James, right? He was fun-loving, rapping, but he was serious. And then WWE decided to let him go. He goes to TNA, becomes Ron the Truth Killings, uses his real name, becomes the Truth, and develops that character in TNA that he brought back to WWE. He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was a serious version, a serious kick-ass performer. And then Ron the Truth Killings comes back to the WWE, not as Ron Killings, but as R-Truth. He comes back, he takes the R in Ron, he takes the Truth gimmick that he developed in TNA, and he was really the first of his kind. When he came back to the WWE in 2008, he was the first WWE superstar that was able to bring in a character that was developed not in WWE, but developed outside the company in TNA, similar to what Cody Rhodes did in AEW, bringing over the American Nightmare into WWE. Ron Killings brings this character, the Truth, into WWE, not K-Quick. He brings back R-Truth, and that's who he was from 2008 to 2025. R-Truth was, you know, a babyface, a rapper, a good guy from 2008 to about 2011, and then 2011, they decided to turn him heel. Though it wasn't like a great heel. It wasn't like a real version of who Ron Killings is. It was more so a version where it's like, yes, he was facing John Cena for the WWE Championship. Yes, they put him in a feud with The Rock, with Triple H, with CM Punk. He had a lot going on in 2011 for himself. It was a great main event feud for R-Truth, or a main event story for him in that year. But by the time WrestleMania 28 rolled around, he was back to being the squeaky clean, you know, fun-loving, goofy R-Truth. During that heel run, he was just as goofy as he was as a babyface, you know, insinuating that he had arachnophobia, and he thought arachnophobia meant a fear of climbing ladders, when it was a fear of spiders. He's like, I better not see no spiders on the top of that ladder in that briefcase. Like, why is he doing promos like that as a heel? He wasn't really taken seriously. That was kind of the beginning of the arc to the gimmick that he played over the last 15 years during that heel run in 2011. And then he took that, and I believe it was around 2014 when, you know, he was R. Ziggler. Remember, The Miz had Damian Sandow be Mizdow. R-Truth came out, or Dolph Ziggler, excuse me, came out with R. Ziggler. And it was R-Truth as Dolph Ziggler's stunt double, and that was just really funny. And R-Truth's now the goofy baby face again. And then in 2015... is when Roman Reigns and Dolph Ziggler and Kane were in the ring on Raw, and R-Truth comes out, and this was right before Money in the Bank. They're all saying, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. No, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Kane's basically qualifying everybody because he was the director of operations at the time, kind of directing traffic, who was going to be in that match, and R-Truth's music hits, and you're like, R-Truth's not even in this match. Why is he coming out right now? It didn't really make any sense whatsoever as to why R-Truth was coming out in that given moment. R-Truth says, I'm going to climb that ladder, I'm going to kick all your asses, and I'm going to win Money in the Bank. And Kane was like, Truth, what the hell are you doing out here? He's like, I'm telling everybody what the Truth is going to do in Money in the Bank. And he's like, you're not even in the match. And Truth took off his sunglasses that he was wearing, and he goes, I'm not? And they're like, no. And he's like, are you sure? And he's like, I'm positive. And he's just like, my bad. That one's on me, guys. And you see Roman Reigns and Dolph Ziggler just cracking up in the middle of the ring. And that was kind of the first moment in about a 10-year span that we would go on to see from 2015 to 2025 of just dumbass moments that R-Truth kind of put out of just being like, oh, man, that's my bad. R-Truth would confront Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar on Raw in 2020. R-Truth declaring for the men's Royal Rumble match, thinking that Paul Heyman was going to be in the match and not Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar had declared as the WWE champion that he was going to be the number one entry into the Royal Rumble match in 2020. R-Truth says, you're a big man to throw over the top rope, and you're thinking Brock Lesnar is a big guy, but he wasn't talking about Brock Lesnar. He's like, I'm going to throw your ass over the top rope, Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman's like, I'm not in the match. If you're in the Royal Rumble, you're going to be going face-to-face with Brock Lesnar. And R-Truth, once again, was like, that's my bad, guys. It's on me. I'm going to become the first man in history to undeclare for the Royal Rumble match. And Brock Lesnar, big bad Brock Lesnar, UFC heavyweight champion of the world, WWE champion, NCAA wrestling champion, Brock Lesnar, one of the baddest dudes on the planet, is cracking up laughing in the ring for what R-Truth was able to do. I mean, R-Truth had backstage segments with Randy Orton and Ric Flair that were hilarious, with John Cena, with Triple H, calling him Tommaso Ciampa. The list goes on and on. R-Truth, one of the golden nuggets in the WWE. What he's been able to do over the last 10 years. And when he was released, it just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense at all to the fans that loved him around the world. And more importantly, it didn't make sense to the men and females in that locker room. And I think that's what truly brought R-Truth back. I mean, yes, the fans could be vocal. The fans have done it in the past where they're vocal enough to change certain situations in the company. But I also think this time around, people in that locker room spoke up for R-Truth. I think The Miz probably spoke up. I think other men and women who beloved R-Truth and considered him like family spoke up. And Ron Killings was brought back to the WWE within 72 hours of Money in the Bank. And then he makes his big return at Money in the Bank. He cuts that promo, which leads me back to the end of that promo, him insinuating, if you think I'm a lie, if you think I'm a sideshow, if you think I'm a clown, if you think I'm a gimmick, he cuts off his hair. He takes scissors out of his pocket and cuts off all of his dreadlocks. Yeah, that was a jaw-dropping moment for sure. And you see that one fan recording it on his phone with his jaw dropping. That's when R-Truth died. I don't think he's a heel. I think he's still a babyface, but he's not the beloved, goofy R-Truth anymore. He's not the class clown. He is the badass truth. Nothing but the truth. The whole truth. How do you say it? He's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. He is Ron Killings, and he is here in WWE. And in my opinion, he is here to have a main event push on the main roster for the first time, really, in his entire WWE career at age 53, and I am all here for it. Ron Killings, I don't think R-Truth could have ever beaten John Cena. I think Ron Killings can beat John Cena if they have a match for the WWE Championship. I think we're going to see another Ron Killings versus John Cena match at some point, maybe after Night of Champions and maybe after SummerSlam. There's a lot of time left. I know there's only 18 dates for John Cena left. I think you have to tell the arc of this story of John Cena and Ron Killings. I can't believe I'm even saying that in 2025. If you gave me a list of 30 people that John Cena needed to wrestle in his final farewell tour, the name Ron Killings would not be on my list, but this is why we love professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Killings is back. I could see him becoming World Heavyweight Champion, potentially against Gunther. Could you imagine Gunther versus Ron Killings? Ron Killings could be a serious threat on this main roster. Maybe he goes after the Intercontinental title and Dominic Mysterio first. There's a lot that Ron Killings can do, a lot of stories you can tell. He could be a tweener. Maybe you do CM Punk versus Ron Killings. Maybe you do Roman Reigns versus Ron Killings. Who the hell knows what they're going to do with Ron Killings moving forward, but he is on a killing spree, ladies and gentlemen. R-Truth is dead. Ron Killings is alive on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown.